Hey, what's up, guys? Alex Khan here, and I watch a lot of movies, but I don't post my thoughts on YouTube all the time. But I thought I'd post a quick video on my thoughts on a movie I watched recently, and that would be Meg 2: The Trench. Before I go into this, though, I want to say recently there have been a lot of pretty good movies out there. There's been Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. And then a week after that came Barbie, which is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Then we had Oppenheimer, which I didn't really care for that, but a lot of people did like it a lot, and it's very successful in the box office. Haunted Mansion came out recently, which, it wasn't a great movie, but it was good. And me being a Disney fan, I appreciated what they were going for. And then we come to this movie, Meg 2: The Trench, which is a sequel to the original Meg movie, starring Jason Statham. And I gotta say, I actually did like the original Meg quite a bit. I thought it was very well made. It was over the top. It was fun. It was just a very well made, fun movie. And then we come to the Meg 2. The Meg 2: The Trench. So I kind of rushed out to see this movie when I saw that it was out for viewing, because I liked the Meg 1 quite a bit. So when I watched this movie, I was a little confused. I'm gonna divide this movie into two parts. The first half, which is a pretty decent underwater sci-fi movie, not necessarily with any sharks in it. And then we have the second half of the movie, which does have sharks in it, but it's a mess. So I started watching this movie. The first half of the movie was pretty good, but it's not what I came for. I came here to see the Meg. Those giant megalodon sharks from prehistoric times. They were in the first half of the movie, but they weren't in it that much. Their presence wasn't really felt, basically. But what unfolded was a pretty well made sci-fi movie underwater, but it's not what I came for. But I did appreciate it. I did appreciate the first half of the movie. And then when the second half rolled around, we started to see the Meg a bit more. But the movie was a mess. The director must have been on autopilot, because action sequences were just happening without reason. They were just like thrown on the screen. It felt like a TikTok video, the second half of the movie. It was just a very poorly made second half. And as a result, I'm going to say the rest of the movie, even the first half, was poorly made, because they did not jive together. It was just two completely different movies thrown into one. So I got to say, the Meg 2: The Trench was a pretty bad movie, and it's probably the worst movie I've seen this year easily. I'm trying to think, has there been any other movies that I've seen that have been pretty bad? I don't think so. The Meg 2 is definitely up there as one of the worst movies I've seen in my life. It's pretty bad. You're not going to think that. If you go into the movie and you watch the first half, you'd be like, hey, what are you thinking? It wasn't that bad of a movie. Once you get to the second half of the movie, it's just a mess. It's a mess of a film. And I'm going to blame that probably 100% on the director. It was just a mess. There was no direction in what was happening in the last half of the movie. So I am not going to recommend this movie to anybody, not even fans of the first Meg movie, because I'm a fan of the first Meg movie. I did not like this movie at all. I felt I could have watched Barbie again. I could have watched Mission Impossible again. I could have watched the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, because I heard that was pretty good. I could have watched some of these horror movies that are out, like Talk to Me, or Insidious, The Red Door. I could have watched pretty much anything, and it would have beat the experience I had at the theater today. So, not a good time watching Meg 2: The Trench. So if you're wondering if you should watch this movie and you haven't watched these other movies, don't watch the Meg. I don't say this about many movies, but this is one movie I can confidently say don't watch it. It's really that bad.